Everybody,
Everybody.
hello, hello, hello. We're your hosts, Pastor Lamar and Minister Jessica Jones, and we're killing the fire marriage ministry. Hallelujah. We got another fire one for you. We missed last week. I had gotten surgery. That's what brings our point up for today. It is sickness in marriage, part one, our story. We're going to have other ones come in talking about their story, but this one is about us.
Yes.
So, what about us?
Um, I guess it's already good to talk about what happened at the beginning. We got married, back in 2010. And, planning the wedding and went on the honeymoon, all that good stuff, honeymooning. Then we late came about what, 3 years later?
Yeah.
3 years later, she came. And then she's about two. Um, you got sick.
Well, that was back in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
In 2015, after we had gotten married and everything, life started lifing, and I so happened to got sick, and I was diagnosed with what they call renal failure, which means I had to get on dialysis. A machine that have to circulate my blood and also take off fluid
Mm-hmm.
that I intake, like regular water and juice. So in the beginning of our marriage, it was all fine and dandy, but when you deal with your vows, it says uh, sickness and health, death do us part. You never know what you really have to deal with until life start lifing. Where it talks about faith without works is dead. So how would you know your marriage is gonna survive if you don't go through the different ups and downs?
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it seemed like a downer. You know, um, we young and vibrant, and then life started happening. It doesn't have an age or a name on it. But when I got sick, it just took me, especially me, with so many emotional things.
So how did you just react to that? And also, I remember before you answer that, I remember before you got sick, your dad got sick first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With the same illness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, my reaction really, it took my mind to wrap my mind around it. It's something that it's not like you can take a Advil or a pill and be like, oh, it's over with.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was a life altering situation where when you heard about dialysis, you didn't think about being young. You heard of it's like an old thing.
It also make people feel like it's like a death sentence too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did it make you feel?
For me as a spouse, we were, as you said, we were both young, so it's like it was caught off guard, and then we just had a baby. She's two. So it's like, okay, so what's going to happen next? Because we both were working.
Right.
We both had our lifestyle. And then when you get sick, not knowing at the time, your mood change. You can't work as you used to work.
Right. I had to adjust my work. My work had to change. Yeah. So I had to stop working and get surgery where you had to go in your arm and um, put in first time I got a graft, which is an artificial vein for them to give me dialysis. And that didn't even last to having to get another surgery to use a fistula, which was my vein. And, emotions was running wild. You're not working. And the man's position of thinking about work and taking care of family, all those things just seem like it's gone up in smoke. So, it was not even a acceptance at that point. First of all, it's the news. Then you had to relinquish your your vulnerabilities. Like your wife had to take care of you, wash you, all those different things. And yeah, that's part of sickness. You know, you don't know, it could be cancer. It could be any one of those, but there are things that y'all can build and make yourself stronger.
Yeah, also things we had to I like adjust to as well is that we spend a lot of days and nights and overnight in the hospital.
Yes.
When you first got diagnosed, they had to find out the right doses of medicine to put you on. Your body had to adjust to the medication because before that you wasn't on any medication.
Right, no medication
at all. So your body had to adjust to the medication, adjust to the treatment. So your body was in shock. So we were in the hospital a lot. So we had to adjust to, just even spending date night in the hospital.
Exactly.
You were watching TV.
They trying to give me the hospital food. She's sneaking in and giving me hoagies,
We bring food to the hospital, and like we would get my mom or somebody to watch life for a few hours.
Yes.
And we would just, have our time in the hospital to make the best of it. I mean, we have to deal with it. So we made the best of the situation, not let it consume us, but learn how to deal and adjust to it.
And this is not to scare you, because we're 15 years in. I still have dealing with on dialysis, but we're still enduring to the end. I'm just pointing out, how in marriage you deal with sicknesses, you deal with ups and downs, and just a testimony. We just moved into our apartment, our baby townhome, and baby was 2 years old. She had a car note, I had a car note, and I had to leave my job just to put that. When we applied for Social Security, I had to wait 7 months. 6 months, but 7 months when you actually get the check of disability for any income. But yet God had it to a way that nothing lacked. Nothing lacked. All bills were paid, and we didn't have nothing. Like we were set up. Money was in the bank, and we just got married. So I just wanted to put that out there that God is still good no matter what. When you endure sicknesses in marriage, we're together, we're strong.
It's also a way of just pointing out that you really have to take that on this premarital classes seriously, because once you finish the vows, you finish the honeymoon, life be lifing.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to throw in the towel, to give up, to quit, but you in it for the long run, hopefully, so you really have to love that person. You have to have that, honest relationship with God and that strong prayer life, and just to really overcome something, because some things we didn't even share with people, not to be secretive, but people can be their words can be just discouraging.
Yeah.
Sometimes, even now, some things we don't share, and not to be private or secretive, but you have to be careful what you take into your spirit as well, because it can this affects you in some ways. When you try to be positive, you try to be strong and everything like that. So some things you have to be mindful of what you share with others, because I think most people, I'm gonna say all, but most people have good just intentions. But sometimes their wording is not the right wording for what you need to hear when you're actually going through that situation.
That's what that's why we're having this podcast, that we can actually talk to those couples that actually are dealing with certain sicknesses and illnesses throughout their marriages, because we are definitely testimonies. The emotions of trying to recover from what's going on physically and mentally, how it could disorient the house so bad, where it's chaos and confusion, and you trying to figure out who you are, and I'm trying to figure out where I am, and our emotions will bump heads because you don't. Who wants to be sick?
Right.
Then
it was like a huge like adjustment for us. Before we didn't have to plan around like this treatment. So when we traveled, we had to make sure we planned treatment into our travel schedule. So we included it into our lifestyle. So we didn't stop traveling, stop doing things that we both enjoy doing. We just included it into our lifestyle, made it a part of us, and not make it consume us, but include it into our lifestyle. That's what we learned to do. So we still enjoy traveling and doing things. But it's just when we do travel, we have to make sure we have like a treatment facility.
Right. It's having a plan. This was not the getting sick or whatever is not in your plan, but you got to learn how to plan around because y'all still married. I think some of that is part of how makes us stronger. Us allowing you to see me in my vulnerable state and me sharing certain things with you, what I like, I don't like, and you're learning me and I'm learning you. And what better way to challenge the marriage when when you're dealing with sicknesses.
And also think it made us stronger to be more intimate with each other.
Yes. Now, intimate is not always about sex. Sometimes it's the
touch, the talk,
the sharing that you go through when you
cuddling,
because you don't find that type bonding by no text message. You can't find that type bonding in like a stroke of a hair. You find that bonding when y'all really be on the same page, trying to take care of a particular thing.
Yep. So that really increased. I think the sickness really increased our intimacy because we were in our 20s when we met, so we were bunny rabbits all the time. So
nasty, just nasty.
So then when and you can imagine when your body has to adapt to medication, some things will lack. So intimacy became important to us, which should have been included all along. But again, we were in our 20s, So now we include both sex and intimacy. But now we see that intimacy is important in a marriage. We understand it now, 15 years later, than we did when we were in our 20s.
Yes. It was like, get over here, But it's so much deeper. It's so much deeper. In the emotional side, and then the recovery part.
Right.
Me trying to heal. She's helping me hand and foot. Me slowly getting myself back on my feet. Right. My wife said that when the doctor told me that got going dialysis and all that, the wig came off, attitude changed, all that changed,
All the way off. But I can get it, grandma, your uncles, your dad raised you, to work, provide for the family.
Yeah.
So I get it. But the wig came all the way off, and he said you can't work, you can't make your own money, you can't do what you was raised to do and taught to do. That definitely affected you a lot, and I understood that.
Yeah, it was some hot nights, but it was dealing with the emotions that you have to deal with when you're trying to accept what's going on, the emotional part of getting over how can I go forward? We can go forward. How are we going to go forward? And then on the frustration of having family and a brand new baby. So yes. Sickness will hit your door one day. You never know. At one point I didn't have no medication. She was taking all the medicine. Then it just flipped. Now I'm taking.
I think it's funny because you tease me about my skin medicine. And
God don't like ugly. God don't like ugly.
My eyes.
My like poor health food choices. I blame myself. Shame the devil. but but no better now. But just yes, y'all can make it. Yeah, we can make it. Just since 2015. So it's been over 10 years, almost 10 years that since this had happened, and now I am able to slowly get certain things so I can get my kidney and things like that. Because even when I was sick, I had the mind to try to do it, but I couldn't do it.
Right.
Physically.
Right. It's
so
like we a while ago we bought some new lights for downstairs for our foyer area. And we bought them a while back when they was on sale, discontinued, real nice. And he had the mindset to pick them up. And also, just to let you know, I've never seen him put a light up in my life. So I was just wondering if I could call 911 or something. But it worked. He knew what he was doing. Praise the Lord for that. That saved a few coins. But because of his illness, sometimes he have a mindset of doing something. So we didn't get to it until a while later, because sometimes that affects how you feel.
Yeah, and then in marriages, you have to learn that there will be some setbacks when you're dealing with illnesses. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take out of order. It doesn't destroy the marriage. It's just that you have to learn how to adjust to the new way of thinking and how to take care of each other, making sure that your spouse is taking care of themselves, even if they don't want to hear it.
Right. And even for me, going back to the lights situation, like I wanted it up like as soon as possible, but then I had to remember that he had the illness, so sometimes he has a mind to do it, but his energy isn't there to do it, or he doesn't have the strength to do it. So me as a wife, I have to continue to be mindful about that, and I've gotten better with it, because sometimes like you gotta do it now.
Yeah, and that makes me think about another thing about patience when you're dealing with someone. Your spouse is dealing with health crisis or anything. Dealing with having patience. Of course they know what's going on. Of course they how they feel, but having patience and empathy on what they're going through. That's another piece of it, because not only she had to take on a greater responsibility while I was down, she also had to care for me and still allow me to be the man of the house, if that makes sense. Doesn't describe my character, dismissive of my character or who I was, because regardless, at the end of the day, that's who I am, period.
Right. And then even now he's going through the recovery
again
process. Again, we had to just go through a major surgery. And we didn't tell too many people too deep what type of surgery it was, but he and I knew it was definitely a serious type surgery. Yeah. Again, we don't tell all of it.
We didn't tell everything, but it's the reason why we have to say it, because they're testifying people that they had to go with my arm, because my arm had clogged up. Mm-hmm. And it completely couldn't use it at all, so they had to put a catheter in my chest, which is a port, and then I had to get surgery on my arm, and now I'm going through that healing process. And sometimes that's what marriages go through. They go through this healing process, because even if you're sick or whatever, your spouse is going through the same thing. It might not be hurt as the same way, but they are going through it with you. Not against you. So, as the person that is sick, you have to have that kind of empathy and patience with your caregiver as well.
Right. And that's the other part, is being the spouse who isn't sick. You have to definitely take over that caregiver role, with the patience, the flexibility. Because even while he was in the hospital, I stayed there the whole time, waiting for the doctor to come out. Doctor and I talked, and he actually said his pressure dropped. Then I went, within the shot up
on the table. So it was something serious, but you just gotta give God the praise, because we depend on Him, and that's what marriage is. You have to learn how to depend and pray
Yes.
on with God. We pray every night. We take turns praying for, and putting our petition out there for God. Not because of what he can or what he's going to do, but just the fact that he saved us for so many situations. People had died in the family. It's been so much. That have happened that we are still the residue of what you could do, the residue of a marriage when you're sick, the residue when we were talking about patient in marriage and trust in marriage, all those different things that we have definitely have went through, and yet we're still here.
Share the story.
Sharing the story, telling somebody about it, and that's what this podcast is about. Giving marriages who are sick or haven't been sick, or what to look out for, and what you might see, and knowing that God can take care and give you the strength to endure. Because we definitely leaned on God, especially where things were going left and right. Bills could just pile up, but yet He gave me that like Israel experience where He gave me my manner. He gave me from heaven each and every day, and I just had to learn how to depend on it.
Then also for the spouses, you have to be that a support system.
Yes.
To your spouse. That's really important because at first he was going to a center for treatment, and then he went to do home dialysis. So I have to assist with it. I had to get training. So I always tell some people, I went to nursing school just for 3 months to get training to how to do.
No degree.
Just a little 3-month training I had to go through. But it was something that he wanted. He didn't want to go back to the treatment center anymore. It was something that he wanted to do. So as a spouse, you got to be supportive of, what your other, what the spouse is going through wants to do. You want to make them as comfortable as possible. So then now he's getting treatment home, and I have to assist with it. So again, that changes our lives as well, because I, still work full time, and sometimes I have to adjust my schedule, just to make sure he gets his treatment, then we have a daughter. So
now, and she's what, 12 now. So
she's in after school activities, she
yeah.
play dates. So we have, a lot to balance, to adjust, but it is workable, as long as you talk about it, you create your schedule, you can still live your life and, just include your sickness as a part of your journey.
Yes. So we encourage you, if you have a testimony or anything, share it. You don't know how many people that are really going through the same thing you're going through or not. But hey, this is an encouragement segment.
Some like tips for those who are, going through sickness or job loss or anything that you're going through. It's just to be sensitive to your spouse's needs and their mood swing. Don't take it personally. Sometimes they don't feel good. They're bringing up.
You ready to hit them right in the eye and everything.
Sometimes you want to get back, but it's not about the getting back part they're going through. And then sometimes you bring it up later when y'all having your pillow talk or something.
Count it not to my heart.
So it's really important to be sensitive, and don't forget to do the small things, like continue to date each other. Don't let it, change your life in a negative way. Let it be a part of you. Still go out on your dates, still travel, do the things that you both like to do. That's what keep the flavor, keep the spice. Just a part of your new lifestyle. That's all.
And as we already said, pray.
Always
and
pray.
Depend on God. Make sure y'all do that daily. It might not seem like it's doing much, but it is doing a whole bunch, especially when you're communicating your union with God. You always say, you got y'all to, but you need that third strand. That third strand to tie y'all together, and that's God and His Word. And since we've been married We have depended on him, and
everything.
this, like I said, we are the residue of what you see. A testimony, a couple that's still pushing forward, and
by His grace.
by His grace.
And He only looks it. Unless He told you.
Yeah, unless I told you, you wouldn't even know. I'm fresh out of surgery, not even a week out of surgery, and yet God is keeping me. God will keep you in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on Him. So I'm staying dependent on God. We're staying dependent on Him, and guess what? We're going to keep moving and testifying.
I got a question for you. So now you're a pastor. So how does your sickness affect your ministry?
Well, I feel when we did Bible study, I feel like Joshua, that as long as I follow God's commandments, as long as I do what He asks me to do, that He'll prepare everything I need. I feel like that's a Joshua experience. Now I'm coming the new pastor of Greater Restoration Worship Cathedral. I'm just relying on God for my everything, and He's going to lead and guide me to what I need. Sickness or not. I seen Him do it in His marriage, so I can only believe that He's going to do it to lead me. Lead the church the way it needs to lead.
Yeah, it was hard for you staying home on Sunday. That was like, that's rough.
That's rough. I've been saying Sunday, I was like, I want to go to church. All beat up and everything.
Bring your little pillow. You have to bring it this Sunday to church. Bring a pillow. Hold it under your arm.
Yes.
You made it in the building.
Yep, I made it in the building. But this was our tips for you on this evening, that sickness and marriage, it still can work. Yes. We took those vows, to have and to hold this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and health, to love and to cherish, till death us do apart, according to God's holy will, and I pledge to you my faithfulness. So we trust in God, we love on God, and we love y'all. So we hope to see y'all on the next episode. I don't know which one we're going to do the next one, but I know
we're going to have a part two.
On sickness and marriage. Might have a special guest. We'll see. Yes. But we'll look forward to seeing y'all again. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the support. Thank you for sharing, what we have been sharing so far. And don't forget, you can hit us up on YouTube, GRWC, We're Killing the Fire Marriage Ministry. You can also email us, the Couples Channel 5812 at gmail.com. So, we're looking diligently, looking like messaging you back, and hope to see you and hear from you. You never know, you might be on here. All right. Yeah, we love y'all. And God bless.